Okay, I had a question specifically about wiring an FC6A-C24R1CE. So I wanted to go over that specific model, kind of help a guy out a little bit on wiring once he really understands what's going on with it. Let's look at the part number on it first. The part number, this is a CPU module part number. This kind of explains what everything is. So an FC6A, that's the model line of the PLC. A C is an all-in-one PLC. A 24 is a 24 I/O. That means 24 input and output points, not 24 each. They're split between them. And R is a relay output. K is a transistor sync output, and a P is a transistor source output. Okay, the 1 is removable terminal blocks. 3 is a mill connector. The A, in our case, ours is a C. This is your power supply. This is what you have to feed the PLC with. So if it's a C, it gets 24 volt power to power the CPU in it. Okay, the E means it has an Ethernet port. J means it's got CAN connections on it for CAN communications, like for connecting to motors and stuff, or engines, I mean, rather, in vehicles and whatnot. Okay, let's go on down now. Let's find a C1. Where we at? We're getting close. That is a 40. C24. All right, here is a C24. This is a relay type. 1AE. Let's find this. We want to find the, we don't want the 120 volt. He had a 24 volt. So let me go on down here and find the 24. Here we go. All right, FC6A-C24R1CE is what he said he had. So it's an FC6A series. Okay, it's a C, so it's the all-in-one 24 I/O relay output. 1 is the pop-up terminal blocks. The C is a 24 volt input, and the E means it has an Ethernet port right here somewhere. One of them's an Ethernet port, and the other one looks like an Ethernet port, but it's not. It's your USB underneath there. All right, here's your power. This is this connection right here. Number one. So you're going to get 24 volts positive here, negative from your 24 volt power supply here. Your FE is going to be your ground. I always recommend grounding them just to help get rid of transients and stuff. These are your symbols. That is a fuse, and this is your power supply right here, your 24 volt power supply that you're feeding with 120 volts, and you're getting 24 volts out of it to power up this CPU. Okay, and you have a relay is what you have. So this is your input wiring. Your input wiring is not relayed. It's either source or sync. Okay, and they're versatile. They're not called out in the part number because they will receive either sync or source wiring for your input. So it doesn't matter. Most people in the United States anyways use sync wiring, where you're feeding a positive input to it, which is going to be this one right here. Or this one right here, I'm sorry. You're sending, because here's your common negative power supply, positive's coming through, and then when this switch closes, it's putting a positive input to I2. That is your sync wiring. This is most common in the United States. So your input's pretty much, this is your common. This is going to run to all of your devices that you're inputting from your power supply, and you're going to send a positive here, a positive here, a positive here, but through a switch or a device or a sensor or a float switch or whatever you might be using into these inputs. So it's basically when the switch closes, you're going to put a positive to this input terminal. That's your sync wiring. Inversely, if you were using source, you'd be doing the same thing, except you're sending a negative signal in, which is kind of a bad idea. That's why nobody uses it, because if you have a short to ground, guess what? Your input comes on. Here are your output terminals. Now this is for a relay, okay? And the same thing up there, this is a fuse. This L is for a load. This is your coil, your LED light, whatever it might be, your load that you're trying to turn on. So here's your power supply, your outside power supply. You have to feed separate power to this because it actually has a relay inside of the PLC that closes and sends the power out of Q0. So basically when Q0 is told to close, this relay closes internally of the PLC and sends power out of Q0 through the fuse to the load, turns the load on. So if you do not have your power hooked to common, you're not going to get anything out of Q0. It has to have that path. Okay? And this is actually set up as source wiring out the way they have this drawn. That's a positive output. Okay, this is K1. This is sync output. This is kind of opposite of what we do in the United States. I think most of the world actually has went to syncing and input and sourcing outputs. But this is, if you have a transistor type, this is how you would set it up, which his is a relay type. It's this type right here. So this common feeds these 4 outputs. This common feeds these 4 outputs. This common feeds these 2. So if you do not have this wire from your positive that's feeding these, jumper it over to here and to here, you're not going to get anything out of these outputs. So keep that in mind. If you're not getting an output out of one of these, make sure you have power coming into your common, because that's a relay. This only counts for relays. You notice down here you don't have any commons that are common to each output, only on the relay output. Okay, well, I hope that helps. If you have any more trouble with it, give me a shout. Sorry it took so long to get back with you. I've been in kind of a transition between jobs. Got a bad head cold going, in case you can't hear my voice. But I will answer as quick as I can. I promised I'd get back that evening, and I got tied up. I do apologize for that, and I hope this helps you fix your situation. And thank you for watching, and subscribe.